Good evening, everybody. I am Wheels with a Z. It is 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. We are live on YouTube and Facebook Live. Right next to me is Mikey every night. We are here to bring you some Grapple Pro. We got some big news, though, Mikey. March 2nd, breakout over at the Southtowns Walleye Association, 5895 Southwestern Boulevard in Hamburg, New York, right by the Walmart, man. Big live event. Soon, real soon.
It's coming up, about 4 weeks away. Make sure you get your tickets now. The most important thing you're going to see right now is the #1 contender match for Anthony Musso's heavyweight championship. Steve Gage versus the #1 contender, Mr. Fancyy.
Mr. Fancyy taking the challenge on against Steve Gage to be that #1 contender against Anthony Musso's Grapple Pro Heavyweight Championship right here, right now.
Stephen Gage is 11-1 in the last 18 months in Grapple Pro. He's got an unbelievable win streak, and sometimes will do anything to ensure the fact that he gets a W.
All about the W's. Come on now, you know that. Steve Gage is a very aggressive guy inside that squared circle. He's taken out practically the whole Grapple Pro roster and has beaten them at least once.
At least once. I think his only defeat was Bud Good, and that was like 12 months ago.
That was a fluke too. Steve Gage in firm control early on against Mr. Fancyy here.
Tight headlock, leaning his weight on the inside of the hold. It's going to take a little leverage on those strikes to make it through. Textbook top wrist lock, Wheels. Putting pressure on the elbow, driving him to the mat.
Got it in real tight too. Steve Gage down to a knee. Building up base though, getting on his feet. Hard shot to the ribs of Mr. Fancyy, though.
Grabbing on, working the hold. Elbows to chins. Steve Gage is hated, and the audience doesn't mind telling him so.
Oh, God. Don't get me started with the audience. They flip-flop so much around here. It's ridiculous. I don't even know why they cheer some people that they even cheer. I mean, come on now.
Depends on the matchup, Wheels. More often than not, it's whoever has something to prove. Usually end up getting the audience's heart in the end of the match. Excellent backflip. Arm drag takeover.
Sending Gage across the ring. Swing and a miss by Gage. The speed that Mr. Fancyy has, sending Gage up and over into the corner here. Fancyy is reeling.
Using momentum for the drop kick cover. Only two. Referee John Tiger getting in close, counting the shoulders.
Exploding out is Steve Gage, though. Going to take more than that to put him out.
There's probably 80 to 100 pound size difference in between Steve Gage and Mr. Fancyy. It doesn't mean Fancyy will quit, though.
Mr. Fancyy definitely has the speed over Gage, but when it comes to power, raw power, just like that, on display with a backbreaker.
Unbelievable.
It's Steve Gage, man.
Driving him into the canvas on his head.
With a Sister Abigail spiked on his head is Fancyy. This could do it right here. Gage, hook of the leg. Two, only good for two here.
If he would have leaned all of his weight on it, it might have been over.
Yeah, I mean, if he would have went for the pin right away and just put all his weight on there, like you said, that could have been the three. He could have been the #1 contender entering March 2nd at Breakout against Anthony Musso, of course, for that Grapple Pro Heavyweight Championship. Here is a replay here, sponsored by Genesis Gaming and Hobby, one of our sponsors tonight.
8408 North Main Street, Eden, New York. For all your gaming needs, check out Genesis Gaming.
And want to thank our other sponsors, Carbone's Pizza and Dulce Pinapinto, attorneys at law, hurt on a job or personal injury. You know who to call, Dulce and Pinapinto. cover here by Gage. Popping up, though, is Mr. Fancyy.
The lackadaisical pins, Wheels.
Fancyy is not going to win. I don't know what this crowd is even thinking. Steve Gage is in firm control this whole match, proving why he is a top dog here at Grapple Pro, why he's good enough to be the #1 contender against Anthony Musso's Grapple Pro Heavyweight Championship. He's doing it right here tonight.
Grinding him out.
Rolling through Fancyy, though, is Steve Gage looking for a right. Totally misses, though.
Taking him down on one leg. Enziguri. This might be the momentum needed, Wheels, to get the job done.
Oh,
Rolling octopus stretch, putting all the pressure on the arm and the side of the neck.
in the dead center of the ring, too. Fancyy here.
It could be over, Wheels.
His got Gage stretched out, but powering out, putting the strength on display right there is Steve Gage.
Driving him in on the lower back.
Pin here with authority. Arm across the face of Fancyy. Only good for two. John Tiger right there to call it down the middle.
Fancyy will not quit. The audience firmly behind him. Stomp to the throat. Disrespect, Wheels.
Yeah, absolutely. To add a little insult to injury, just stomping Fancyy out. Now, just stretching him out in the center of the ring, too, looking to put him out.
The awkward angles on that pectoral muscle.
Oh, was that smart, though, letting go of that? I mean,
I think it's more about disrespect than it is anything else at this point.
Yeah, sending a message that Gage is the man.
Even if Fancyy does pull this out, you think he'll be in the right condition to take on Anthony Musso?
I mean, he's taking a complete beating right here from the hands of Steve Gage.
High impact suplex.
Sending him across the ring on the back of his neck. Oh, pop it.
Two.
This is a match here. He can't put away Mr. Fancyy despite beating him down all match long.
You could see the fighting spirit on his face.
Building up to a knee is Fancyy right and lefts right to Steve Gage, just chopping him back down. Oh no. Oh.
Full extension on the cheekbone. Laid him out flat.
Good
Wheels.
night, Fancyy.
Is this
Thanks
it?
for coming. Oh!
Only two.
Still has some life in him as Mr. Fancyy kicking out.
John Tiger getting the call.
After getting kicked directly in the jaw by Steve Gage. He had a little bit of speed behind that, too. Up and over is Fancyy.
Rear naked choke, putting pressure on it. Can he get the job done, Wheels?
He's got to hold on for dear life. But Gage
leaning him into the turnbuckle. Steve Gage's size just might be the determining factor in this match.
Oh, stunner.
Or is it Fancy's agility?
I mean, the speed is definitely a big-time perk for Mr. Fancyy here.
You got to have the heart to get the job done, Wheels.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing it right in front of our eyes.
Drop kick right on the nose there to Steve Gage, sending him down, crashing hard to the canvas.
And the championship's on the line. These kind of moments happen.
Oh.
Swing and a miss.
Oh, turned inside out is Mr. Fancyy. Good night. Spare by Gage. Good night.
Oh!
Popping up is Mr. Fancyy. How in the hell?
Can't believe it.
Listen, Steve Gage has put away many of his opponents just that way, turning him inside out with a big-time spare, but not Mr. Fancyy here. What can put him out? He's been dominated all match long, Mikey. Come on now. What is going to put this guy out? Look at that.
Unbelievable spear.
Textbook spear right there.
Brought to you by Genesis Gaming and Hobby.
Still has the fight in him is Mr. Fancyy, sending elbow strikes to the midsection and a clothesline to foul those strikes up.
Drop kick.
Where is he finding this energy? He's feeling it though.
Using the ropes for momentum. Moonsault perfectly landed.
And a pin. No. Steve Gage just powering out.
You can see the fire and desperation on Fancy's face. Processing what will it take to get the job done.
Strike to the back that sends Steve Gage down. On the second rope is Mr. Fancyy though. High rent district.
Going up top. Takes to the air.
Oh, and puts him down. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, look at Steve Gage. Deadlifting Mr. Fancyy. And down.
Death Valley driver.
Oh, man. What a match we got here going on tonight on Friday night. And a leg on the bottom rope.
Desperation. Desperation, Wheels. The only way to get the job done sometimes is desperation.
Good ring awareness. Steve Gage thinks he won, though.
He might be he's confused.
What the hell, John Tiger? What the hell are you doing calling this match?
The match is over now.
Listen, sometimes emotion takes over. Stop
you can't touch the referee.
Though. The match is over. John
Getting
Tiger
himself disqualified. The championship doesn't mean anything to Steve Gage at this point. Destruction's on his mind.
I am with Steve Gage. That was clearly a 3. Fancyy got his leg up way too late on the bottom rope, and he.
Oh, would you quit?
Listen? I mean, come.
Would you just give it up?
What we got here by Steve Gage? Right there, 1, 2, 3.
Of this match is still #1 contender, Stephen Gage.
Oh, still #1 contender. I don't know.
That's not what I saw, Wheels.
It's unfortunate, but the bell did ring. Mr. Fancy's hand held high.
That's your winner right there. And still your #1 contender.
Still #1 contender. I am Wheels with a Z. I am signing off with Mikey every night right next to me. We'll see you on Monday, 7:30.